That'll do. Misspell. Come on. Yeah. Squinty, squinty. Okay. Weird. Huh. Very bizarre. Alright, well, whatever. I don't know what's going on. At some point, Zelius going to sit down and find out his mic's not on. Or not. Who knows? It's a mystery. A mystery of epic proportions. Trying to find that sweet spot for my audio. And so I shall talk and not try to make my thing go crazy. He's just toying with us, ladies and gentlemen. He wants to get as close to the camera as possible. There he is. All right, you need to turn on your mic, sir. As much as we love just staring at Zelius's face, such a handsome man, we'd actually like to hear his voice as well.
Are you sure about that?
There it is. That's weird.
There you go. How goes it, yo?
It goes. Talk again.
Yo, yo, yo.
Okay, it is going through both my ears. Hold on one sec. I gotta get my drink. One
all
sec.
Around the world.
Hold on one sec. Let me get my drink. All right.
What is the drink of choice, good sir?
Do you even have to ask? A little bit of green, a little bit of red, baby.
It has been too long, I feel like.
Well, let's do this. I don't know how high I could do the pour here, but a little bit of green, a little bit of red. Oh, I can't. The mic stands in the way. I can't do a high pour. Just believe me when I say.
It's a high pour in my mind, sir.
There you go. All right, so fun fact, if I do not hear everything Zelius says, it's because of allergies. I can barely hear on my left ear because it is swollen to shit.
That's annoying.
Oh, indeed it is. And the eardrops are doing jack squat.
Yeah, that's no fun. I'm actually going to a concert next Thursday,
Woo!
and what I got though
Mhm.
is I got earplugs.
Smart man. Smart man.
But like in order to actually be useful, you basically have to shove them in your ear canal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that's gonna be interesting to see how that goes.
Do you have the silicone ones or the foam ones?
They're gonna be the silicone ones.
Okay, good, because the foam ones are trash.
Yeah, no, they come in. They actually come in tomorrow, and they're like the true concert ones, so I can like
Sweet.
use them.
Sweet.
But yeah, after I saw Sabaton, my ears were ringing, and I'm like, okay, I need earplugs.
Yeah, what was it? Lamb of God, Kill Switch Engage, and I can't remember what the other one was. Yeah, but my ears were ringing for like a week.
Yeah, which means we all have hearing loss from that. So
Yeah.
after that one, I'm like, you know what? Everything I've read, basically, like, if you get the right hearing protection, it still sounds the same, but you just don't lose your hearing. So
Yep.
I figure it's worth.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to try to do this show with less coughing than last time, but I can't promise anything.
No, you can do it, sir.
All right. The record button has been hit. And we are ready to go. I'm going to mute Zeelies here, and then we will start the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the... Oh, my goodness gracious. Let me try this again. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Oh, my God, what is going on? Hold on.
Are you going to survive?
Gotta hope so. All right, one more time for the top. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Digital Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Hello, sir, and welcome to the world of pollen.
Whee! Ladies and gentlemen, I, of course, am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the prolific counter himself, Zelius.
Indeed, it is good to see you, good sir.
Indeed, indeed. It's good to be seen. So, ladies and gentlemen, this, of course, is the Thursday Night Hangout. It's a live show. We try our best to cover the topics most important to you. If at any time you do have any questions or topics that you would like to add to the show, please drop them in the chat, and we will try to add them to said show. If we do, unfortunately, run out of time, we will add it to the list, and we will cover it the very next show. So, without further ado, let's get into it. And apparently, I've already screwed up my camera because I've gone fuzzy.
Oh no, it's because there's too much pollen in the way. It's just
probably, yeah. That probably just need to clean the lens. Okay, let me just do the zippy zappy. Yep, there we go. And now I'm looking pretty.
Whoa.
There we go. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's get right down to it, shall we?
High def.
Okay.
Charlie Beard.
Can I just point out that the makers of Animal Crossing are awesome.
How so?
Okay, so Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is still a very popular game on the Nintendo Switch, the developers released some very sad news a couple days ago. They have given an end date for Animal Crossing's New Horizons. They're like, you could play up to this date.
Okay.
The year 2060. 2060.
Nice. I like how they give the warning of you have 40 years to still play it.
Yeah, you which is amazing because you think about all those games out there that well, if you're in the Madden cycle, you get 2 years of online play and then they cut you off. So it's nice to see a game that's basically saying, yeah, we'll leave things open for 40 years. Why not? We'll be fine.
Meanwhile, tomorrow, there's an open beta dropping for a game of who knows how long it'll be online.
Yes. Diablo 4 open beta happens this weekend, and Blizzard has already gotten ahead of ahead of all of the bitching and moaning that's going to happen and saying, hey, guys, by the way, just a heads up here, there's going to be long queues, and from time to time, there's going to be server downtime. So enjoy the open beta.
I mean, it's free. I mean, I do have it downloaded onto my PlayStation 5.
Uh-huh. So you're going the PlayStation 5 route.
I'm going to try the PlayStation 5 route. The thing I'm always curious of, so my issue with most action RPGs, because a large part of them is the loot drops, right?
Right.
Is the part that gets me on the console with the gamepad is just not a good feeling system to use the controller with a lot of ARPGs. Um, and so, like, I played Path of Exile both on my PlayStation 5, but if I had to, I could swap back on the same character to my PC seamlessly, which was nice.
Right.
So it kind of alleviated that issue. And since it is open beta and since your character is wiped, I figure, what the hell? I'm just going to try it out and see what I like, because, if you like it on the PS5, cool. If not, then, oh, well, it's not like it cost me anything anyways.
Right. That's the beauty of the beta.
Yeah, so I figured I'll try it out if I can even log in, because one thing Blizzard still cannot get right for some interesting reason is the capacity needs for their online games. Like the first 2 weeks of gameplay is always a clusterfuck.
Well, like they've got to. I mean, this is Diablo 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. And oh, by the way, they've also got this thing called World of Warcraft that they've had as an online presence forever and a freaking day. And yet they're like, yeah, we're probably going to run into issues with this beta. Why? You're going to, I'd rather overshoot, and put too many servers back there than not enough and piss off all the people who want to try out your game.
Well, yeah, because like somebody like me who's going to try it, if I can play the whole week and I like it, I might actually be incentivized to buy the game for. But
let's say you can only play for like 2 hours at a time, and half that time you're stuck in a 30-minute wait queue.
Then I'll be like, nap, I'm good. So yeah, like it definitely will influence my decision, which is, I guess, a little bit ironic, because I know within 2 weeks of the full release coming out, it'll be fixed, so it's not the biggest thing, but it still definitely plays a role. 100%.
Well, I mean, I think honestly, if it is that as jacked up as I hopefully was over exaggerating, you play for 2 hours and at a time, and then there's a downtime, but it takes 30 minutes on a queue. Hopefully that's not that bad, but if it is, you're basically killing day of sales.
Oh, no, I'm actually expecting a longer queue than a half hour, to be honest.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that you're only allowed to play for 2 hours.
Before you get kicked out, you got to re-queue, yeah.
A quarter of that time is waiting in a queue.
Yeah, so I'm curious. I'll see what happens. Apparently, they have 3 classes. It's the Barbarian, the Sorcerer, and the Rogue, I think is what they called it.
All right.
Thief, Rogue, Archer, whatever that class is.
Ranger.
That's the one. Those are the 3 classes that'll be available for the open beta.
Not surprising. I mean, that's basically the quintessential 3.
It is the staple 3, but on full release, they'll also have the Necromancer and a Druid. So you can have your skeleton army fighting on your behalf.
Skeletons. But yeah. Now, you made mention of Path of Exile and how you can play on your PlayStation 5 and then on your PC, and your character follows you, right?
Yep.
So Valve has finally made the announcement that a highly anticipated game is coming out this year.
Half-Life 3.
No. Counter-Strike 2 is scheduled to actually release. And, of course, everyone's going, okay, well, what does that mean for Counter-Strike Global Offensive people? Valve's already come out and said anything that you own in CSGO will immediately transfer over to CS2.
See, now that's cool.
Yes.
Which, again, guess what that's going to do? People are now going to want to go from Global Offensive?
Yeah, it's CSGO.
CSGO to CS2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's the way to do it. Like, yeah. So it's
you're not starting from scratch. You can the look you have or whatever you've got carries over. So it's like a seamless transition. And I will fully admit I do not like Counter-Strike. It's too realistic, and I suck at it. So that's 2 strikes in my book. But
what's the 3rd strike?
I suck at online games.
That's like 1.5.
Fine. 2. So there's maybe a quarter of a reason for me to be still playing. And no, thank you. I don't have enough time. There you go.
Okay, there you go.
All right, so I will admit though that I did take a look at one of the trailers and it looks pretty. That's really the main, from my understanding, the main update. The thing that people are really going to get is that CS2 looks really nice. So
I mean, I would imagine so, and why not?
yeah. Well, I mean, you don't. It's not. You don't have to. Make it super duper pretty, but it's nice that that you're going to get that update, and then of course anything that you've got in CS:GO is going to look a whole lot better in CS2. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
One would imagine so.
Yeah, but that's
I mean, I'll be honest, I will not be checking it out.
no, nor would I.
I did check out at one time Overwatch 2 for about 2 matches, and I was bored of it.
No,
that was my extent. Yeah, I was like, I'm going to check it out, see what it is, and I just got into it, and I'm like, nope, I'm good. So I
did
think,
you see any improvement over the first one, or is it just the same old shit?
Same old shit.
But the team makeup is different.
I know, it's now 5 fuck ups instead of 6.
Oh, but that's going to create all these different metas, right?
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be a question.
I don't know. It's I think my first person shooter days are over for the foreseeable future. I mean, never say never. You never know.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely over them at the current moment in time.
Yeah. Yeah. When was the last time I played a first person shooter? I guess the closest I've gotten to a first person shooter is probably a third person. It's not really a shooter though. I mean, technically it is, because Hogwarts Legacy, when you're in battle,
Paladins counts.
I don't remember the last time I played Paladins.
Well, I played Team Fortress 2 for quite some time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't play that for years.
Yeah.
And then Overwatch 2, played that for probably about 2 solid years. And so I'd say it's about another decade before I play another FPS.
Let's see. I mean, I've played almost all the Halos. I played Paladins. I played Skyrim. Sorta could be construed. I mean, it's a first-person game, but I was more I was more melee than I was ranged. So it's less of a shooter, more of a stabby stab man. But yeah. So I don't, like I said, when I tried to get into CS:GO and it was just too realistic for me, and then not for me. But hey,
no, that's fair. I get that.
Good for everyone out there, and really, 2 huge thumbs up to Valve for allowing for a very smooth transition from one version of CS to the new version where you're carrying everything that you have instead of trying to split your gaming community.
I did funny. It's like you have Steam, who's like Valve, who's holding on to like the last vestiges of their titles from years ago, like Team Fortress 2. They're still releasing updates to.
Yep.
Counter-Strike, they still release like new versions, and it's like.
Yet there's not another Half-Life.
I know.
Sons of bitches.
It's kind of funny because like they have so much money they could literally just throw at that if they wanted to.
Dude, I'm still I know that I've said this a million times, but when Valve wants to get super serious into VR and hit their weight behind the HTC Vive, you're going to see Half-Life 3. That is going to be their exclusive VR title. It has to be that big for them to truly jump into the VR stuff. Unfortunately, you're also going to need third-party publishers to also kind of pad the VR library. And yes, I know there are VR titles out there in the Steam library, but are there enough good, really utilizing the VR technology, or is it just kind of we're giving you a different view of the game?
Or it could be like the Nintendo Wii, where Nintendo comes out with a VR console with the Zeldas and the Marios dedicated to the VRs.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm not saying we succeed, but that would be the other path. Is because
No,
think about it, when the Wii
Nintendo
came out.
absolutely could do it. You know,
I mean, when the
they
Wii
would
came
be.
out, people were like, "What the shit is this?"
Yeah, no, I mean, look at the 3DS, the Wii, the 3DS. I mean, the Switch, for God's sakes.
But kind of like you've been saying, though, it still is going to take a monumental effort from
Yeah.
a developer, a consummate, whatever it is, to make it happen. It's not just the little toss of bones
Yeah.
of an alternate version of playing the same game. It has to be like an all-in effort to really push that needle.
But here's the other thing. If you have like a Nintendo or a Steam that decides, oh yeah, we're really jumping into VR, you want to, like I said, you want to build the library. However, in order to do that, you're going to have to be in negotiation with publishers. And as the wise saying goes, the easiest way to keep a secret is only to tell yourself. So as soon as you start saying, hey, by the way, we're thinking about truly getting into VR, that shit is going to leak.
Well, the other thing that would help too would still be the VR big wireless headset.
That would be amazing, but I just don't know. We have got so much wireless shit in our world now that jacks with stuff.
Well, it would have to be like a wired, it would have to be like a dedicated 5G connection between like the device and your headset.
Right.
What it would have to be.
Right.
I mean, that's really the only way it would work. Because it's not a big deal, but the wire is still kind of a pain in the ass.
No, absolutely. Yeah. When you start swinging around and moving, there's a very good chance that you might yank the headset off of you or out of the console.
Well, but then the other big issue would be the battery of the headset.
That's true.
Because right now, because like the one I have for the PS, it's pretty light actually. Like I was surprised actually by the lightweightness of it on my head. But I could not imagine how that'd be one chunky boy if you had to have a battery hooked up to it.
Yeah.
With the displaying, because the way it's displaying that like through the lenses, like you just have to have something there to give it that juice.
It's wireless to your console. However, there is a plug that's running off the back of it that's in an outlet behind you. So you can't move around too much. But you don't have to worry about the wires in front because it's literally going down your back.
Or it could be like one of those like belter people in space where like the battery pack is attached to like your waist. Like you have this like battery belt. And that's what it's plugged into.
Oh man, I could just see if that were the case, I could just see the amount of third-party battery pack belt makers that are going to come out. This is going to be the most comfortable VR battery pack belt on the market.
It's just hooked in like straight into your Tesla car to charge it.
Yeah, you're fine. The Tesla adapter, so you can play VR on the road.
Oh god. Actually, yes. While I'm driving, I'm just going to put on my VR helmet, and that's what I actually see the road through.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, wasn't there in their maybe it's just an experimental thing, but I swear that there was kind of like a some kind of tank where you can't actually see, but you've got like goggles that give you the outside, so you're completely protected. There's no glass or anything, but you're utilizing a camera to see outside the vehicle.
It's probably a thing.
Yeah, probably. You know, there's probably some crazy project out there. I don't know. All right, let's see here. The next story. In the wonderful world we live in, where there are individuals out there who need as much power as possible, and so they want to take over other people's countries, there is some new news. And that is that the producer of tons of different mobile games, Supercell, has now announced that starting this spring, which I'm guessing is maybe starting next month, all players from Russia and Belarus will be blocked from playing any of their games. Which I understand. We've seen this before, I mean,
Spring started 5 days ago, by the way. 3 days ago.
well, is that spring in wherever Russia is? I don't know.
Is it ever spring in Russia?
Probably not. In Russia, spring does not come to Russia. Russia comes to spring. No, I don't know. But anyways, so I mean, this has happened before. We've seen companies block access to their games or different parts of their services. But
yeah, it's just like it's one thing to me, at least, like with Russia, like boycotting like the companies or doing business directly with the oligarchs and etc.
right.
Versus like if basically the regular people who have absolutely no say or decision in the war are the ones who want to play the game. I feel a little bit differently about that. I mean, I have no problem with it actually doing it, but I don't think that's a decision I would make to actually prevent just everyday players from playing the game personally.
To be totally honest with you, I think that this ploy would work better in the U.S. than it would in Russia, because we are such a needy country, and if we don't get our pleasures, we go nuts. Where Russia, Putin goes, "You'll be fine," and everyone goes, "Okay, we'll be fine, I guess."
Yes,
I don't know.
We're sure there'd be riots in the street over
Oh
it.
God, yes.
What? Somebody doesn't think the United States is worthy of your game? Are you a commie heathen?
You son of a bitch! We'll burn your building to the
We
ground.
must go bomb them for this atrocity.
Exactly, because that's how all Americans think. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I would say that's probably true.
but
not that that's all Americans think, but rather that
that's the stereotype.
we
But
would be,
also, we've got
but
enough people that would be the truth.
there would be a very angry uproar over it. Yes.
Oh dear God, yes. But I mean, it's a nice statement, but I don't think it's not going to change anything. I mean, it would literally have to be the entire game industry going, by the way, you can't play any of our games, and then maybe that moves the needle. But
unfortunately, with Russia, I don't think it matters.
Right, I know. It's
just at this point they're so far sunk in where, yeah, that's not going to matter.
Look, the freaking IOC, the International Olympic Committee, will not allow the Russian flag to be displayed anywhere, and still Russia's doing what they do. They're like, okay.
And apparently there's a warrant out for Putin's arrest from the ICC.
Oh, yeah, of course. No one's going to do anything.
Means I can go to Russia and arrest Putin? Is that how that works?
Best of luck getting out alive, but yeah.
I mean,
citizen arrest in Russia. That'll go over real well.
Not a big deal. I guess citizen's arrest.
Yeah,
I don't see an issue with that.
No, not at all. You're fine. So there was another story that came out, and this one kind of has my head scratching because this is just Microsoft being Microsoft. You know how like Microsoft tries to jump into a lot of things years after everybody else has done it?
Yeah.
Well, Microsoft is excited to announce that they will be launching their mobile gaming store on iOS and Android starting 2024. Yes, that's right. The Xbox mobile gaming store will be available on Android and iOS starting 2024.
Huh.
Okay. Sure. Wasn't that like one of the moves that they tried to do like way back in, I don't know, 2014, 2015, where they were like, there's like a Project Unity where all Microsoft licenses are going to be under one Microsoft banner, so you can seamlessly play on any of the devices that you have the Microsoft Game Store on.
When is their library going to come to Linux? That's the real question.
That would be interesting. That'd be very interesting. Probably never.
Probably never. That's very true.
Because I would foresee that anything that you put on Linux, you'd have a bunch of people who would try to like program around all of the the safety stuff or restrictions.
Well, that's part of the fun of Linux, though.
Of course.
I mean, their stuff actually plays Mac on the Apple, plays nice on the Apple, so why not Linux? Just go to the next logical.
Didn't Steam on Linux?
There is actually, yes, a Steam client
Yeah.
for Linux, but
I wonder what that library is like.
I'm gonna guess pretty limited.
Yeah.
I thought there's actually a way I think on Steam to filter like games for Linux and Mac.
Yeah, I think. Well, I know for a fact that you could do it for Mac. I don't know about Linux though.
It's like 2 games.
I think it's like PC, Mac, or other.
Yeah, not a whole lot of choice. I mean, really, your best choice, I think it's what is it, Wine?
Yes, yeah, that's the Windows emulator.
It's something. I mean, I don't really use Linux. I used to dabble with it for fun because why not? But now it's like, nah, I'm good.
I dabbled with Linux simply because I had like older machines, so I couldn't put like one of the heavy OSs on there. So you put Linux, which runs pretty light. But then, if you want to do anything, basically when you put Linux on there, you've basically made yourself a word processor machine. If you don't want to really start deep diving into programming and coding.
Yeah, especially because like graphics cards and stuff are all lumpy jaw, and
you have to download packages, and then hopefully they're compatible with how you've got all your shit hooked up.
But it's so easy. You just use these 15 commands. But step 13 has a 44% chance of failure. If it does, there's a 72% chance that this other command will work. But if not, then good luck.
Well, there's actually an error in the actual typing of that. It's supposed to be underscore, not a dash, and therefore you just reformatted your hard drive.
No, that's an underboard, not an underscore. That's why you're getting it wrong, sir.
Excuse me. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, the Microsoft mobile store is coming in 2024. Cool.
Yippee.
Yeah, okay.
The only thing I actually used the Microsoft Store on my Windows machine was to get Fantasy Star Online 2, because it was an exclusive for the Microsoft Store for like a period of time.
Nice.
I wanted to try really
that picked up for like a fucking steal. Actually, I think ironically, I think it was on the Switch store. Oh yeah, the Digimon Cyber Sleuth game was like heavily discounted. Instead of, it's usually like $60 or something, and I got it for 10.
Nice.
Or no, it was 7. It was $7. It was like a heavy discount, but it was like one of those like lightning sales, which does not happen on Nintendo Switch, but I swear to God it was, because I got it for a real steal, and I've played the game. Now here's my problem with a lot of the Switch games, especially when it comes to RPGs. I actually want to know how long I've played the game. But there are games, and this is not just a Nintendo Switch thing. I mean, this happens on all the platforms. If I want like active time, not the game is on. And with the Switch, you could go to the dashboard and the game's still running in the background. Well, if the game's still running in the background, that counter's still going up, even if the Switch is off, because it's going off the system clock.
Yeah, or like, I mean, how many of us playing Steam games or any other game for that matter, like we leave it on and we just kind of leave it up and then we go away. And then come back and it's like
you're in the middle of a game and all of a sudden you got to go do something, so you hit pause so you can come back to it, and it's like a couple hours later, and guess what? The couple of hours have been added, and that actually screwed me over for a refund on Steam, because I left a game. This game was absolutely horrible, but I didn't exit out, so the playtime was past the whatever, like the first 60 minutes or 90 minutes. You can
it's kind of like I played like sometimes like a game like lately Lost Epoch. I'll play for like an hour before work. And I'll be like, maybe I'll play during my lunch break. So I just leave it on the entire day.
Yep.
And like I don't touch it for 9 hours. Then I never actually play it during my lunch break because stuff. And then I come back after work. I'm like, oh, you've been online for 9-10 hours, and I'm still logged in.
Mm-hmm. Now that's a little weird to have an online game that allows you to stay online with inactivity.
Lost Epoch has a really long timeout. It's actually kind of crazy.
Was it 24 hours?
I don't know, but I could actually pay attention sometime, but it's pretty nuts.
Well, I guess they don't have a lot of issues with bots then.
Not yet, because so it's actually I know I've talked about it a few times past, but it's still in technically in early access. They're on patch 0.9, and they technically have online gameplay, which I've not actually played with other people. There's no actual, it's not a persistent MMO type of world. So if there were bots, it really wouldn't get you anything, because there's no trading or market house or anything that would actually benefit by having a bot right now. So you could, but it'd be kind of pointless in the game, to be honest.
There's people who will do it though.
Very true.
Just so I could say I did it.
But they do play. They actually have an interesting mechanism coming out for trading. So, actually, get your thoughts on this. So, what they're doing. So, right now, there's no trading in the game. A lot of it's just because of progress of the actual game development. But basically, the developer came out and said they're going to do. You can basically have two choices to do. One is you can basically either have the option to trade in game, or you have the option to not trade in game, meaning anything you drop belongs only to you. Now, you can still party up and stuff. That doesn't restrict it. It's just the ability to trade in game. But what that does is, depending on if you choose to not be able to trade with other players versus you do want to trade with other players, is you get certain basically buffs over time regarding that. So if you don't trade, you get better drops of a certain kind that are unique just to you, and it increases over time. Versus if you want to be in the trade faction, you'll be a better trader over time.
I'm assuming that this is something you have to decide upon character creation, right?
You can actually swap back and forth, but if you swap, you lose all of your benefits.
Right, but let's say that you turn off trading for, I don't know, a month, and you just go hardcore so that you could get the really awesome drops. And then once you get the awesome drops, once you get a bunch of the awesome drops, then you flip it off.
You can. They said you can, but I don't know the details of. I'm assuming you're asking what happens to those items, and I don't know.
Right. It's basically
yeah.
I can't make a profit off of anything, so I'm going to get stuff really cheap. And then once I've stockpiled enough, then I'll switch it back over and make a steal.
They have said you can swap back and forth, and the developers have said anything about that level of detail. But my assumption, to keep things fair, is if you get a loot drop when you're in private mode, you can't then trade it if you change factions.
Okay, that would make sense. I mean,
that would be my assumption. I mean, again, I don't know, but it would that's the only way that makes sense for the balance of the game.
It would be what do you call it? Bind on pickup type thing.
Yeah, it would make sense that it'd be bind on pickup if you're kind of in the single player trade mode. Otherwise, that'd be kind of dumb, honestly.
Yeah.
I just thought it was an interesting kind of take where it actually your choice actually means something. So someone like myself who never trades in games, I'd be like, well, yeah, I'll do that, but you can still then party with other people. Yeah. So it's kind of a nice balance between the two.
For me, my favorite option, because I won't trade either, but my favorite option is turning off chat while partying, because I don't want to hear with you. Just let's do this. I don't need you to critique how I'm doing it. We're doing this for fun. It's not a competitive thing. Please, for the love of God, I will try my best. How about that?
I have not partied with people in the game yet, so I still need to see how that goes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds cool. I hope it is bind on pickup if you've got it set to no trades, and then when you switch it over, you can't just trade all that good loot that you've been amassing.
Yeah, people would definitely find a way to abuse
Oh God,
that.
yes. And I wonder,
people find any loophole to abuse anything in video games.
I'd be very interested to see what the rate of bonuses is. Is it per day? Is it per time spent in game? Because if that's the case, then you just have a bot walk around in a circle for
Yeah,
when you're not playing so that you could continuously rack up the hours.
that is all very good questions, sir.
This is what goes on in a programmer's head.
How can I break the game on the developer's behalf?
I just wrote a script that makes you take 4 steps to the left. I spin around, take 4 steps to the right. So, yes, that's 8 to the left for those counting.
You really want to do the cha-cha.
And then I hop, 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 squat, sit down, stand up, and bow.
And do you do the YMCA while you're at it?
And then I do my shimmy celebration. And then I floss.
And then, like real floss or like hand floss?
No, the dance floss.
Oh, I thought maybe it's some like floss in your pocket.
No. Yes, I'm going to program floss into the game so that my character could just break out the floss and just be showing good dental hygiene.
I mean, you're being a good example for the rest of us.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, sounds like an interesting thing. We'll see how. I'll be very interested to see how it's implemented.
Yeah, no, I like when like developers kind of think outside the box though with options.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not just the way it always has been. Let's try something different. See how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, innovation is never a bad thing. It's unfortunately or fortunately, sometimes things stick, sometimes things don't stick. But I will tell you this.
You just don't know.
I will tell you this right here, right now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are ever a programmer and you are making something for the PC, do not try to reinvent the keyboard. It's WASD. That's what it is. WASD. Or if you want to get crazy, you can just use the arrow buttons. But don't try to put some other shit up there. Don't do some, well, this is going to be better. It's a Y, G, J, and N.
I really don't think I've played games like that, to be honest.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, a lot of, there was, like we said, when you're trying to make a difference, when you're trying to make your game stand out, a lot of indie developers try to do, some kind of crazy thing that will set them apart from everybody. Changing up the key bindings is not the kind of changing up to make yourself unique you want to do.
That is not the change we're looking for.
No.
No, sir.
A new interpretation of some mechanic, yes, but not your basic movement mechanics.
No, that makes me want to just punch the game in the face, which would probably break my monitor and would actually not be a good idea.
Okay, so here's a question for you. Let's say that you do have you pick up a game and they've decided to try to relay out. They have their own way of keys and buttons that they want you to use because they think that this will streamline it. Would you be willing to play it that way, or would you have to have the ability to rebind the keys to play it?
It depends how much, I guess. So, like, actually, most MMOs, if you think about it, most games, I should say, their skills are 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like Last Epoch is Q, W, E, R because you're moving with your mouse.
Mm-hmm.
So it's slightly different, but I much like it. But it's like a slight deviation. It's not really a deviation. It's just a slight adjustment.
Right.
So something like that works. But I think to your point, if like they moved your abilities to like TYHN on the keyboard,
yeah,
like I would just be annoyed, honestly. I'd be like, this is dumb. I'm not having fun. And like, why would you do that? Other than, I guess, to your point, trying to stand out something special. Yeah, like things like that matter when you're playing a game. Of like how easy it's to press these skills or abilities over and over and not give yourself carpal tunnel fatigue syndrome from trying to play the way that the developer wants you to. So I don't rebind, or I log into my stupid keyboard software and rebind it myself.
True.
But if I have to go that far, I'm probably just going to install the game.
Yeah, that's very true. Damn it, I had some zealous. You made me forget. It was there.
But most games I play like that allow me to like rebind my keys if I want to.
Yeah.
Which I do not infrequently because I have an MMO mouse.
No.
So being able to rebind to my thumb keys, I do pretty frequently. And if a game does not, as so to your point, actually, if a game does not let me rebind to my thumb keys, if I want to, like that is definitely a major. It won't necessarily make me stop playing, but if the game doesn't really hold my attention, then it's like just another kind of check in the mental column box of not booting it up the next time and choosing something else.
Right. No. Okay. So I just remember what I was going to say. Yes, I am. Like I said, I don't like it, but I'm willing to give the game a go. But my thing is, if you don't allow me to read map, and I'm spending more time looking at my keyboard to make sure that I'm about to press the right button than I'm actually looking at the screen to play the game, that's not going to work for me.
Yes, there was actually a game I played not too recently that did that to me. Like the keys weren't like in a weird place.
Yeah.
But there's just so many keys where I'm like, what do they all actually?
Is it Torchlight Infinite?
No, God of War.
Oh.
Because you have like light attack, heavy attack, spell attack, bow attack, draw back your bowstring attack. Oh, wait, you have to draw back your bowstring at like all these different keys for the different ways. Oh, now you also have whatever the stupid kid's name was.
Yeah.
Make him go do stuff.
Yeah.
And like all these different things. And typically, I think with what you're saying, I find usually keyboard and mouse games, so PC, are typically pretty good about rebinding keys. But usually when it comes to the consoles, particularly the PlayStation 5, it's like, nope. You're going to play the way that it's set up initially.
Well, I will give some credit to some developers out there. There are, hopefully, when a developer has a game, they're allowed to test to the point where perhaps there are maybe 2 or 3 layout schemes that seem to excel and allow. Yes, you can't rebind the keys to exactly what you want, but there might be a setup that works better for you.
I could see that
because I've seen quite a few games that'll do that approach. And of course they've always got weird ass names because they got to be unique. It's like, oh yeah, this is the tanker layout, and this is the gobstopper. I'm like, what the just say selection 1, 2, and 3.
I like the unique because unique names. It gives a little bit of character.
Oh well, actually, you know what? It thinking back on it, it's actually kind of brilliant to give it special names because now when you're talking with your friends, you'll be like, oh yeah, I got the hunter rogue set up. That seems to be the best one for the type of character I play with. And people are like,
it sounds like a really obnoxious DLC in Diablo 5 or Diablo 4. It's like it's actually, oh god, I think you actually just gave Activision an idea.
Shit. Run away!
Change your key binds. Like each key you redo a key bind is
DLC
like
key binds. Oh Jesus!
It's gonna happen. Quick, patent that before it's too late.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. God damn it! Why did I have to open my mouth, Zelius? Oh God. Okay, real quick. So I've got 2 titles for this show that I want to put out there real quick. I have My Player is Showing Good Dental Hygiene or DLC Key Binding.
Ooh. I think the first one, though.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah, I think the dental floss, yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick pause here to thank the amazing people that help Ultra Confusion be Ultra Confusion. So without further ado, let me tell you about some of the friends of the show. The first friend of the show that we've got to give a shout out to is, of course, the one and only the Indie Cluster. The Indie Cluster is an organization of independent game developers that want to gain exposure by being involved in the community. They collectively journey to popular conferences as a traveling booth to help gain attention for their games. They make partnerships with local communities to bring games to the mainstream mindset. They highlight local, unusual, and rare concepts to challenge the paradigm of the common. They also host events to teach kids and minority groups about game development to hopefully one day enter the industry themselves. For more information, go to indiecluster.com. The next shout out we got to give is to Noodle Boy Media. Founded in 2015 by Andrew Tran, Noodle Boy Media, previously Whack Kid 47 Media, it's your choice for professional photo shoots and panel recordings at conventions. They pride themselves in providing a high level of professionalism, top-notch experiences, and quality services. If you want more information and to view their full list of services, check out facebook.com/noodleboymedia. The next shout-out we got to give is to the amazing man who will help all gamers with all their aches and pains in their joints, and that, of course, is Hero Chiropractic. Hero Chiropractic is a unique healthcare practice set up by Ryan Moore. The company's focus to elevate a patient's experience of freedom, creative expression, and joy. They believe that everyone can be a hero and has incredible heroic potential inside themselves waiting to be unleashed. Hero Chiropractic focuses on mobile chiropractic care in the greater Atlanta area. They are committed to healing clients by creating a plan of action uniquely. For more information, go to herochiropractic.com. The next shout out we got to give is to the music maestro himself, Crosspad Creative. Need a new Day, Axe leads both a development team and system administration team working on satellites at NASA's Goddard campus. But while not in meetings and many times during, he is the agile evangelist Agile Axe, championing the philosophy of individuals and groups, and I know that you are now clamoring to find out, how do I become a friend of the show? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to report that Alter Confusion survives on the love and support of fans like you. And so we have a Patreon page. Patreon lets you, the fans, lovers, haters, demigods, interdimensional beings, gods, demons, aliens, werewolves, vampires, mummies, and more to become active participants in the work we love through a monthly membership. This gives you access to exclusive content, community, and insight into our creative process. In exchange, we gain a bit more freedom to do our best work and the stability we need to build an even stronger creative career. We currently have 2 tiers that you can pledge at. We have the $1 a month tier or $12 a year tier, and that will get you early access to all the playthroughs as well as Patreon-only posts that you can participate in. If you're feeling a little frisky, there is the $5 a month. That's $5 a month or $60 a year tier. And not only do you get everything at the $1 tier, but you also gain your name or organization added to every single Friends of the Show section of Thursday Night Hangouts. So if you want to become a patron of Alter Confusion, go to Patreon. That's patreon.com/altered confusion today. Now, Alter Confusion is a huge supporter of trying to help out people, especially kids. And so we have successfully fundraised for Extra Life for 12 straight years. Extra Life is gamers doing what they do best, game, to help sick and injured children at their chosen Children's Miracle Network Hospital. The money that we raise through Extra Life will go directly to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta as unrestricted funds. This means that the hospital decides where and how to spend the money to ensure the dollars we raise make the biggest impact in the lives of the kids they treat. So if you have the capacity to donate, please go to extra-life.org and search for Altered Confusion. And I will apologize if I'm sniffling and I'm sounding weird, but my sinuses are all of a sudden deciding to empty out, so I'm getting it's very hard for me to speak right now.
Just all of a sudden, it has not happened before.
No, it happens, but it's the wonders of allergies. Your sinuses drain at random intervals, and apparently right now is one of those intervals.
Nice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there was a question asked of Alter Confusion this this past week, and I want to bring it up before I forget. And that is, Zelius, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll give my answer. Have you ever replayed a game in anticipation of a sequel of the game?
No.
Never? Have you ever thought about it?
I've thought about it,
Mm-hmm.
but I just haven't. It's a pretty quick, easy answer for me. I don't replay a whole lot of games in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like if Jade Empire 2 was coming out, I play the first one in a heartbeat to be prepared.
Right.
So I guess that's one, but just generally speaking, not really. And I think it's just because like games are so long typically,
Yeah.
where like I could replay it, where if I wanted to replay it, I would have replayed it already anyways. And I think, obviously the analogy is a movie where like, when the new Avengers comes out, you'll rewatch the Marvel movies, know what's going on.
Right.
But like the hour investment's very different type of thing of a movie versus
The 40 hours.
Yeah. So it's
That's interesting. Hold on, I was trying to there we go. We're back.
all right. Should I start talking again?
Yeah, you can keep going.
All right. So for instance, like I want to start playing the Anyo series. It's a city builder game. And like a Sim City or Banish type of game. But I'm going to start with the oldest one, which is Anyo 2070. Because like, sure, I'll start with the original one. So I think in those kind of cases, like, yeah, I'll start with the oldest version of the game, assuming it's not from like the 70s or something crazy.
Right.
I think that's where I kind of go back in time. Like, I probably wouldn't do it for a sports game. That would be kind of silly.
Yeah.
So it probably depends a little bit on the game too.
I could see that. I mean, I think that I think I've done it before. I think it's more. I'm trying to think. There's no rhyme or reason, or there's no benefit to replaying it, that I probably won't replay it. But if it's something that literally continues the storyline, then yeah, I'll go back.
Or like you guys are like, if they come out with a new Dragon Age, for instance, that's going to continue the old storyline, that's a shit ton of hours to play.
Well, how about Mass Effect?
Yeah, so that's a lot of hours. So in that case, I'd probably like read the synopsis and be like, okay, what happened? Yeah, because you're just talking a nutty amount of hours.
Well, okay. So, but here's the thing. Okay, so I brought up Mass Effect, and Mass Effect, you convert your save from your previous game onto the new one.
Sure.
And so you got that going for you. It's not. It kind of gives you an incentive to at least have played the earlier versions of the game, so you can have that customized experience when the new one comes out.
Well, I think I would assume they'd have some catch-up method or whatever it is, or Mass Effect 3 came out when the Xbox 360 was out. So, people will have save files on the 360 that they're obviously not going to have anymore.
Yeah.
So they will have to have, I think, depending on the length between releases, some way to basically like yes, they still have the import save, which would be cool, but some way to catch up.
See, I think because whenever they bring out Mass Effect 4, when they finally do it, I don't think you're going to have that import save because it's been too long. There's a generational gap now.
I mean, I could see it as an option, but it might just even be like a title.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not have any actual influence over your character. Because think like even like in recent BioWare games, like even like the paradigm between like good and evil, Renegade and Paragon, has kind of gone by the wayside.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like one of the big differentiating factors in the previous ones was like your good versus evil factor.
Right.
And of course the relationships. I mean, I guess technically your Asaris could still be alive.
True. But I mean, the thing is that if they were to go that route, they would be putting a hell of a lot more emphasis on rewarding the PC gamer over the console gamer. Because like you said, Mass Effect 3 came out on the Xbox 360. You're not going to be able to it'll be really freaking hard to get your save file from there. But if you got the PC,
why I think like it wouldn't be a huge.
Right, but still, you're you're still catering, even if the only thing you get is some flashy shiny thing, you're still basically saying PC Master Race for the win.
But don't developers already do that?
Maybe behind closed doors, but I don't think they'll ever admit it.
It's usually, usually it's the other way around when the consoles are
Yeah.
superior to the PC ports.
Yeah.
Well, that's already a thing.
Right.
Where that's a thing where one version gets, look at what Sony did with the PS5 version of Spider-Man, where you got like special on PlayStation 5 only version.
Yep.
So that already is kind of a thing. I just hope it's a single player thing and not like multiplayer and all that other shit.
Yes, that would be nice to have the emphasis solely on the single player experience. Well, instead of slapping on that, was it just like the war effort thing?
Yep. And I know we've talked about a number of times over the years of like, the supposed death of single player, but I think over the last years we've shown there absolutely is still a strong, vibrant community for single player only dedicated games when done well.
Yes.
Like, I think single player games do have a much shorter leash in terms of being a good game than a multiplayer game. I think multiplayer games, probably because of sports games, have a much easier way of just being shitty and still being successful.
Well, I think also when it comes to multiplayer games, we're now at the point where we expect sometimes extreme changes to occur in a multiplayer game, whereas a single player game, it's I don't want to say it is what do you call it, like a buy as is type situation, but it's a lot harder for the amount of tweaking that a developer would do for a single player game.
Yeah, you don't expect them to come in and like completely nerf your awesome gun that you found at the end game.
Yeah.
And all these other changes like halfway through your progression. Be like,
right.
No. Versus that happens in a multiplayer game. They'll be bitching, but people will continue to play.
Well, look at any MOBA. There's nerfing out to wazoo, like every single release. But yet people still play it. But if you were to do that to a single player game where you've spent hours building a character the way that you feel is the best way for you to succeed, and the developer goes, oh yeah, by the way, half the stuff that you have, we rewrote everything. So that passive doesn't do what it used to do.
Well, okay, but that's interesting when you think about it, because that does happen with MMOs.
Yeah.
Because people play MMOs in a single player way, because it is possible in a lot of them, where you basically don't really play with the community.
You lone wolf it.
Yes, thank you. You lone wolf it. And yet, understandably, developers will definitely change those classes, usually predicated on how they interact with groups,
right?
Specifically PvP. So, there's always a ton of tweaks and everything else and balances based around PvP, even for a lot of players, myself included, who basically don't touch PvP in MMOs.
Well, I think for that, I think the rationale is that you would be messing with only the minority. Whereas if it's a single player game, the gamers, they're all single playing gamers. You're not gonna, if by making a tweak, you're gonna affect everyone. Where it's like an MMO and you're tweaking stuff, and you could dick over the lone wolves. There's a shit ton more people who are interested in partying and raiding than there are people going, I'm doing it myself.
I think there have actually been studies that have showed that's opposite is true in MMOs.
Really? A lot more lone wolves?
Where it's really the single player gamers have really saved MMOs. Like even myself, where yes, I'll do the raids, I have the guild, but I still play the majority of it single player. Because I think about even like playing, like when you do like in Final Fantasy 14, when you do a random dungeon, I know you're playing with 4 of the people.
Right.
But it's almost kind of like a single player method, because they're just random people who I'm partying or or after that. It's really only in that dungeon for 20 to 30 minutes at the most. It might interact. So even in a weird kind of way, it's almost like a single player way of interacting with the game. And the director of 14's come out and said that like he's trying to make so you can lone wolf the entire game with never having to play with a person ever. Even a game like Guild Wars 2, where there's a lot of open world meta events, the way that the boons and everything works, you never actually like if there's a big world boss, you can't lone wolf it. But when you're grouping with other people, they can't really also dick you over or anything. Like they can really done in such a way where like, oh, there's this big champion boss. You can go and just kind of tag it and just kind of stand there and it's like you don't want to do melee, just kind of sit back there and pick your bow. You can do that all day long. So I think they've come a long ways in terms of MMOs. Yes, they're online. But doing it in such a way where you can basically kind of play it single player without really actually having to interact directly with the community. Even Guild Wars 2, where there's always people around. There's the meta events with other people. I never talk to people in the game. I never partying up with people in the game. And yet I'm still acknowledging it's a vibrant online community. So it's kind of a really cool way of doing it, the way they figured out.
Well, I think it's more like if you want to interact, you can, but you can see the vibrant world for however you want to view it. I mean, an example that I like to use was Defiance, where I lone wolfed, and you could see like the massive, like super world bosses, because you would see there's a outline of a circle, and once you go inside that circle, now you're in the what do you call it? The sphere of influence, and now it may attack you, and you could get credit for hurting it and whatnot. But
I really wish there was still a online FPS game or third person shooter, whatever it was, like Defiance.
It was.
That was such a fun game. Dude, because you're right, it did that mechanic very well, where you could lone wolf it. But kind of similar to Guild Wars 2, they had like the open world events where you could participate in or not. Like, if you didn't do it, cool, but you could join in. But the way you could join in, because I know one of the issues with doing, like, kind of going back to 14, I mean, I've never actually had it. Like, I've been very fortunate, but yes, you could have somebody totally dick you over in a dungeon, just a random 5-person. It could happen. But like in those usually open world events, like the Guild Wars Tour Defiances, people can't really do that with the way they're set up. I mean, you might have a bad group and you guys don't finish the world boss is conceivable. But you can't really have somebody just like, you can't have like that tank or healer basically not doing anything, so your DPS can't do anything. It's just not really a thing. So I really love those open world event styles where they've created in such a way where you can do it online or you can just kind of do your own thing. And you still see other people, but you just kind of run past them. Still gives that feeling of like, hey, I'm in an online living world. I'm doing my thing.
And I think that we're to the point where that's important, where, we, like MMOs of old, it's all about the team experience. And now we're seeing more people. I want to see the world. It's more and more like .hack. Well, the anime, not well, I mean, I guess the game as well, but the anime where you log into this world and there are people who focus on just collecting items or being a trader of items, or an individual whose main focus is to find the hidden areas. They're not interested in killing all the massive bosses. You basically get to create the experience you want to.
And that's been over the last number of years. You've seen a number of MMOs, and most fail spectacularly because their advertising is exactly what you're saying. Where you can do they call it a sandbox MMO, where you can do anything, but none of them have actually really done that. Where, I mean, every MMO, you have to do combat to level up. So actually, Guild Wars 2 is a good example because you can actually level up doing crafting. But in order to craft go mine nodes. You still have to go out in the world at some point where there's going to be mobs that aggro you.
Right.
Now there's a game coming out called Pillars of Creation. It's an MMO that's been in progress for God knows how long. But it's one of those that's supposed to be kind of like we were saying, where like you can basically do whatever you want in the game and still succeed. And there's a couple of MMOs I know that are in the works where that's what they're trying to do, where, think about like our real world, right? Like the Jeff, I'll call them the overlords, like the Jeff Bezoses and they're not warriors. They're, capitalists who made a lot of money that way.
Yeah.
But you can't do that at MMO. It's like you have to go combat. So
yeah,
in some ways, like in an MMO, to have it where you could still be like the Uber number one with never having swung a sword in your life.
Yeah. Right.
I think people would love that. I mean, I guess EVE Online tries to do that. I know you still will get involved in conflicts and competitions, but you can become like the mining trading overlord.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's
now
still a
that's your
chance that
second
you're
life.
going to pull some pirates or something, but you could absolutely spend the entire. That's what I did in
That's
every
true.
single.
So that is actually one game where it can do it is EVE Online.
Yeah.
But I would consider the outlier.
Yeah. No, and I think the problem that you see with a lot of the MMOs out there that try to go, we're a sandbox MMO, is that the upside to having the ability to do whatever you want to is, player experience can go through the roof. But the downside is you have to have every different type of scenario polished. Otherwise, you're going to piss off someone, and that's not possible. Like, oh, yeah, you could go through as, just a crafter. And then, like you said, yeah, absolutely. However, you can't, but in order to actually be able to be a true crafter, you're going to have to kill all these mobs to get these special recipes that you can't get unless you actually kill them. You can't buy them. Then okay. Then it's not really, you're force feeding me to experience stuff I don't want to experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's almost the need like trade wars to MMO.
Yeah. I don't know. It's when you have a game that tries to incorporate different aspects to make it cool. It's fun to have games that have different types of it's an action RPG, but also has a puzzle element and also has a rhythm element. But when you have those, what a lot of the developers do is they literally have like a small section of the game where you get to do this so they could claim it. And then, but they don't utilize it throughout the entire game. It'll be thrown in the middle and then be like forgotten. And that's not the experience that, if you're going to have a rhythm part to the game, then it should be throughout. Now, of course, there are games out there that build, that you start very simple, and then as the game progresses, you get more complicated. There's games out there where, you open up skill slots that allow you to do more stuff as you go through. And there's games out there that add new wrinkles. Like, okay, now there's going to be these puzzles that require, you using mirrors to set lasers. But then that's something that continue, they build off it. It's not just like they give it to you and then they take it away. So, but it's tough. It's really hard to do.
Or you get amnesia and you forget how to use the lasers.
Yeah, that's the other thing is when you have those games that add layer upon layer of complexity, and you are a gamer that takes a little bit of time off, and then you have to come back and relearn all those layers of complexity. That sucks. So, excuse me. All right,
are you going to die at the end here?
God, I'm going to try not to. Zelius, do you have any closing thoughts, sir?
It is a beautiful day to be alive.
That works for me.
I'm interested tomorrow to see if I can actually log into Diablo 4.
Yes, please keep us appraised of how long the queues are and if you actually get to play before server downtimes.
Because it will happen.
Oh, God, yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning into the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zelius, it's been a pleasure giving everything in our heads, our mouths, and, of course, our hearts. Zelius, you're off next week?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll try to see if we could get a Thursday Night Hangout together for next week. If not, then I'll be streaming on Thursday. So until then, ladies and
You're
gentlemen,
more than welcome to come join me at the concert. It'll be a fun show, sir.
Come
on.
With my wonderful allergies and health, that's probably not a success, okay?
Maybe all the jumping up and down and figure it out, like jiggle it out of your brain.
Probably not. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you soon.
But kids keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother. And we're out. And we'll stop recording. I hate allergies. I hate allergies.
But they love you so much. They envelope you and they hug your brain.
Whatever.
You know what actually fixed my allergies?
What's that?
Moving to Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, it's cold as balls half the time, and
my theory is
pine.
the freezing winters killed all of everything.
Yep.
And so, because I had really bad allergies before I moved up there, and knock on wood, I still have some sniffles, but they haven't really come back like I used to have since I moved back.
Dude, this has been the worst. It's been in, like, I'm gonna date myself, but this is the worst my allergies have been in maybe 20 years.
Damn.
Dude, I'm getting hit hard.
Is it the double whammy because they died because it got cold and came back, or is it just?
You know, I think I got double whammied, not because that it was there, that it got cold and then came back. I think it's a double whammy because I was already under the weather, and then pollen came in and just punched me in the nuts.
That'll do it.
So, all right, I'm going to end the stream. I got to talk to Zelius, but